Hi guys, come on in. Let's make sure we are live and ready to go. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday morning for those of you in the States. Come on in. Today I'm talking about how to get featured in Forbes, which I think is personally such a fun topic. I'm just going to check here and make sure I am live in my group for you guys before I start training on this topic. If you're joining me, drop me a line to let me know you are here and let me know where you're watching from. Okay, I can see I'm live in my group. So guys, just let me know that you can hear me. Drop me a line, let me know if the audio is working. And also let me know where you are watching from. Hey Hannah, how are you? All right, I see some people coming in here. So we're going to get started. Again, I think this is a really fun topic. I'm excited to cover this with you guys. All right. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Betty Kempa. I am a business coach and marketing strategist for coaches. Specifically, I help corporate professionals ditch the 9-to-5 and repackage their genius into a six-figure coaching business. And I love doing that. It's what I did. It's what I do for my clients. So let's see who is with us today. Horia, how are you? Watching from France. So cool. Hey, Carol. Okay, so good to see you guys, and keep commenting so that I know who's here with me, and let me know where you are watching from so I can say hello. Okay, one more quick check, make sure the camera is hitting my whiteboard because I'm going to be doing a little bit of writing here for you guys. Yep, looks like it's hitting it. So let me know if for some reason the camera takes the whiteboard out of frame, but I think you guys are going to be able to see it. Okay, so I am here in Denver. We are thawing out from a fun little snowstorm that we had over this weekend. Luckily, being a coach in a 100% virtual business, I didn't have to shovel out my driveway or shovel out my car. I just sipped on butternut squash soup and I watched the snowfall from the cozy window of my home. Gotta love life being virtual as a coach. Speaking of which, if you are currently in a corporate 9-to-5 and you're ready to go virtual and build a six-figure coaching business, I do encourage you to apply for a discovery call. The link is in the copy of this Facebook Live post. All right, guys, so let's get going. Today, I'm going to teach you how to get featured in Forbes. I want to give you a little bit of my background as well. I see Carol is asking, will there be a replay? Carol, there will. Hey, Julie, nice to see you. Carol, there will be a replay. But feel free, Carol, if you have any specific questions, even if you have to drop off early, ask your questions so that I can get them answered for you. Okay, guys, so a little of my background, only so that you guys, for those of you who don't know me, you understand why I'm giving you this little talk. I am currently on the Forbes Coaches Council. I have been featured in Forbes, I don't know, like 8 times since December. Some of the pieces were 16 areas every solopreneur should outsource as soon as possible. I was featured in one that was titled 16 Coaching Pros Share Their Biggest Public Speaking Mistakes. Another one, 14 Signs That Tell Owners it's time to pivot their business. So I won't read you off all the features that I've had, but just rest assured, I'm training you on this because I've done it myself. I am currently working on writing one of many Forbes solo articles written by me versus being featured in somebody else's article for a quote. So that's a little bit about my background as it relates to Forbes. So now that you guys know why I'm giving you this training, next I do want to touch on why you should want to be featured in Forbes, right? Now, some of this is pretty obvious. I think probably the reason you're here is because you kind of already know, like, yeah, that's a good business move for me to get featured in Forbes. But I cannot, in good faith, start a training without covering why you should care about the topic. You know, share the WIFM, what's in it for me. So I want to give you guys that. Why do you want to be featured in Forbes? So first, of course, it's the credibility. right? Plain and simple. Being in Forbes positions you as an expert. And remember, clients buy from experts, right? So we want this. Being in Forbes helps you build your authority, your personal brand. This also helps you guys, if you think about, if any of you are outreaching, which by the way, if you aren't, you should be outreaching. When you outreach to prospective clients and you send them a connection request and kind of like a cold message, right, to a new contact to build that relationship and potentially turn them into a client, if that person sees you were featured in Forbes, it is much easier for them to let their guard down because it helps the trust in the know, like, and trust, right? So outreaching becomes much more simple. If you're featured in Forbes, you'll get to have your Forbes badge featured on your LinkedIn banner, your LinkedIn headline, your Facebook banner, your website homepage. If you've ever seen some people with their websites, on their homepage or their About Me section, they have as seen in or as featured in, and then all the badges, right? You want to add Forbes to that badge list. Other ways to use this, once you're featured in Forbes, if you are giving a speech, if you're trying to get in somewhere and pitching yourself to give a talk, right? You want to mention you were featured in Forbes. If you're doing a virtual seminar, you want to start it off, sharing that you've been featured in Forbes. If you're doing a training, if you're being interviewed on someone else's podcast, you get my drift here. It's a really easy way to implement the know in the know, like, and trust. Every time you get featured in Forbes, you can repurpose the content on social media, which you guys, most of you that know me know I'm big on that, right? If you're featured in Forbes, you're going to post that across all your platforms, right? Facebook or LinkedIn or stories. You're going to send it to your email list, right? So it's an awesome piece of social media content. When you're featured in Forbes, and this is a big one as well, when you're featured in Forbes, they will backlink back to your website, which is awesome for SEO, search engine optimization, and getting more traffic to your website, right? So think about that. Every time I'm featured, they link to my Forbes bio and then they link out to my website. It's awesome. Also, getting featured in Forbes, it gives you more media opportunities, right? More speaking opportunities. It's going to open up a lot of doors for you. Think about also Forbes has a built-in audience, right? They've got a built-in audience. Something like around a third of Forbes readership demographics consist of senior management, affluent individuals, business owners, small companies. So this is an excellent opportunity to build brand awareness among potential clients and business partners. So of course, I give you guys my spiel of why I want you to care, to buy into this. And of course, the long game is getting clients, right? That's what this is, what everything is all about, right? And, I've said this before. A prospective client might take up to 16 times of seeing your content. And when I say seeing your content, I'm talking about the good, juicy content that's value packed, not just like fluff content, right? So getting published in Forbes, your prospects start to see this multiple times. It's a great way to kind of move them closer to the trust in the know, like, and trust, and eventually book a discovery call. You guys should also know that Forbes website has a high domain authority. And so what that means is when a Forbes article comes out, Google ranks Forbes articles very high. So if a client searches, like I listed to you guys earlier, some of the topics I've been quoted in, some of the Forbes articles, if a client searches for that topic or pain point, whatever that topic is that you were quoted in, your quote is more likely to be at the top of Google, right? Like page 1 of results, because Forbes has that high domain authority, right? So another cool way to get in front of people. And lastly, this is kind of a side note. Just checking my comments here. Okay, good. This is kind of a side note here, but I actually think it's an important one to mention. Getting into Forbes is a great way to network with other Forbes coaches and contributors. If you are on the Forbes Coaches Council, members gain access to a vetted network of trailblazers, disruptors, game changers. I mean, these are some big names. And you get access to this kind of there's a website, right, that you have private access to where there are these exclusive group chat discussions, and you can chat with people and you can partner with people. Great opportunity to network and collaborate. They also have a concierge team that gives members access they have a concierge team that will connect you to other people on Forbes. So they'll kind of push you towards building these meaningful relationships by doing personal introductions. And so it's just a really awesome opportunity for collab and new business opportunities. Okay, so that's my pitch, why you guys should care about this, why, when I start to describe to you how to get featured in Forbes, I don't want you to tune out because it sounds hard. I want you to really be bought in that this is worth it. It's actually worth it to do all the steps I'm about to share with you to get featured in Forbes, because there is a lot at stake here. I don't work for Forbes, even though I'm on the council, but I got to share with you, why you guys should care. So you take the opportunity seriously. So let's talk about how you do it. Okay, going to get into the how. Now, I'm going to start with, because there's a couple different ways to get featured in Forbes. Hey, Brian, nice to see you, Brian. Just checking my comments here. Julie, crazy to think it can take people 16 times of seeing your content. I know, right? I mean, it doesn't always take 16 times, but that's a real number. Like sometimes it does, 16 different touch points. So yeah, it's important to get yourselves out there. And I know you know that. You do a great job of that, Julie. So let's talk about how. How do I get into Forbes? And here's how I did it. That's what I want to focus on with you guys, how I did it. I'll share with you other ways to get into Forbes, but to me, the way that I did it, I personally think is the easiest way to do it out of all the options on how to get into Forbes. And it is this: get onto Forbes Coaches Council. Okay, write that down. Okay, drop that in the comments. Get onto Forbes Coaches Council. And if you guys are familiar with Forbes Coaches Council, let me know in the comments. Have you ever heard of Forbes Coaches Council before? Have you ever considered, trying to get onto Forbes Coaches Council? So getting onto Forbes Coaches Council allows you to get featured without having to hire an expensive PR agency, without having to pitch editors or writers, right? And you go and you have to pitch. This is like the back end way to get featured in Forbes, is get on the council. You do have to pay to join the council. If you're accepted, not everybody's going to get onto Forbes Coaches Council. So you have to apply, you have to get accepted. There is a cost to join, but I am telling you that it is absolutely worth it when you consider all the benefits that I listed previously. So to me, this is an investment that makes sense. And I'm very particular with where I invest my money for my business. This is worth it. When you are on Forbes Coaches Council, the way that it works is you get a list of upcoming article topics. They will post ahead of time all the Forbes topics that are being worked on or articles, and you can directly submit quotes to those articles. It is awesome. It's fast, right? All I have to do is scan the list. What are they going to be publishing coming up here? And I look for topics related to my niche, right? I'm looking for topics related to business or marketing or things like that. And then you can, directly submit a quote. They'll ask a question and you can submit an answer, and that becomes your quote. Super easy and a great way, again, to get those backlinks. They'll publish my quote, my answer to their question, and then they'll give a link to my Forbes profile, and then they'll give a link to my website. Awesome. The second thing that happens once you join Forbes Coaches Council is you can write your own articles, right? So I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like once every 6 weeks or something like that. But it's awesome to be able to write an entire article on your choice. Now, of course, the editors will go through and, edit, or, they do give you training on how to write a powerful article on Forbes. So they guide you, they take you by the hand, but you have that opportunity, which I'll be taking that as soon as I'm done with my current launch, is, start writing Forbes articles. Awesome opportunity. So let's talk a little bit more about Forbes Coaches Council. Okay, just checking my comments little by little here. And you guys, as I'm kind of talking you through this, feel free to post questions if you have any. So Forbes Coaches Council, what is it, right? So you guys could literally, if you wanted to, Google Forbes Coaches Council apply. You could Google Forbes Coaches Council apply. I think the link is like councils, plural, councils.forbes.com/Forbes Coaches Council. But don't worry about the link. Just Google Forbes Coaches Council apply. It's like the first thing that pops up. And then I'll give you a little bit about what they share. Basically, Forbes Coaches Council is an invitation-only organization for respected leaders and senior level executives in the coaching industry. So you are selected for the council based on numerous things, one of which is the depth of your experience and also your success as a coach. So let's kind of peel the layers back here a little bit more, because I don't want you guys to get wigged out like, I don't have that, or I'm not that, or, imposter syndrome. Don't do that to yourself, right? There's a way that we can position you so that when you apply, you get accepted. So first, let's talk about the bare minimum, the eligibility requirements. So they state, and part of this, you guys, I'm just reading from their page. You must be publicly recognized, so you got to be out there. You can't be like in the shadows running a business. It has to be online, right? Your website, your social media profiles. You have to be publicly recognized as a business, career, or professional coach. So don't count yourself out. Like, I'm not a business coach. I'm not a career coach. Or professional coach, okay? Now, granted, Forbes loves to take business, executive, and career coaches onto their council. They do, but they list that they take professional coaches as well. So here's my advice to you. If you're a coach that you're not in the niche of business, executive, or career, here's the key, okay? You have to make the case in your application that your audience is full of professionals or executives, right? That's what they're looking for. They want your audience to match their audience, okay? And I'll give you an example. I had a client who is a health coach for executive women. She's a health coach for executive women. So she could easily pitch to Forbes because of her client base. Regardless of her niche, she's a health coach, but she can pitch to them and say, listen, I've built a following of professionals and executives, and I'll bring them along for the ride, right? So think about that. If you're not business, career, or executive coach, you just have to pitch that your base, your audience they're made up of professionals. I also read that, oftentimes they either want to see that you're in North America or that you're doing the majority of your business in North America. So your clients are in North America. So again, don't count yourself out if you're abroad, but you do want to put in your pitch that the majority of your audience is in North America. So you need to be able to explain that to them, okay? So I'm just giving you some little hints here, some little workarounds. Now, they also state, although I don't know how strict. I don't know how strict they are with what I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to tell you it. They state you must have owned your coaching business for at least 3 years and be actively engaged in coaching. Okay. So again, I've heard different things about how strict are they with that? Are they flexible? They might be flexible with that number, 3 years. But They will just, I want you guys to know, they'll probably take a look at your LinkedIn profile to verify how long have they been coaching, and are they still actively coaching? Is that listed as their present job? Okay. Just check my comments here real quick. Oh, Horia, I answered your question, Horia. Okay, good. Perfect. So a quick story for you guys as well. When I first got started as a coach, and I don't remember how I heard about Forbes Coaches Council. I think I just saw another coach I respected on the Forbes Coaches Council. And I remember I knew that I wanted my brand to head in that direction. I knew it. I'm big on PR. I love some good PR. But I just knew, like, that's the direction I want to go. So at that time, years and years ago, I kid you not, I set my alarm on my phone. I set my alarm. I did the math, and I set it for years. You know, at the time, I don't know if it was like I was 2 years in or I was 1 year in. I set the phone for like 2.5 years later, to the exact date when I knew I would have been in business for 3 years, as a reminder to me to apply to Forbes Coaches Council, because I didn't want that to kind of float away from me. And the alarm went off 3 years later, and I by accident had set it for midnight, and I didn't care. And by the way, I'm a night owl, so I was probably awake. But the alarm went off at midnight 3 years after starting my business. I sat down, I applied to Forbes. So I encourage all of you guys who are maybe not at the 3-year mark yet, which probably most of you aren't, do the math right now. What date will you be at the 3-year mark? So do the math, you guys. And then once you figure that out, go look at your LinkedIn profile. When did you start coaching? When do you have it listed in your LinkedIn page that you started your business? Do the math and then post the date that you're at the 3-year mark. Even if you're watching the replay, post your 3-year mark date in the comments. Okay. Next, I want you to set your alarm in your phone right now for that date. Maybe not around midnight like I did. I set it at a normal hour. But from this moment on, you guys, I want you to work up towards that application, right? We're not going to just sit on our hands and like, oh yeah, I'll apply then. No, we need to work on how to position you to be a strong candidate. There are things you need to do up until the application. So don't set your alarm and kick back. You have work to do now to make you a strong candidate. So let me touch on the application for Forbes Coaches Council that is on their website. So they have an application. If you do the Google and you find the Forbes Coaches Council application, you can Google that. You'll see there's an application. You know, again, I want to remind you guys as you're applying, there are different types of Forbes councils, right? So Forbes Coaches Council isn't the only council. So obviously we're all coaches here in my group. You probably want to go for the Forbes Coaches Council if you're a coach. So just be aware of which council you're applying for. They're going to ask basic info, right? Name, email, basic stuff. They will ask for your social media handle. Now, this is important, FYI. I believe last time I checked, they were asking for LinkedIn or Twitter. Okay. Last time I checked, they were asking for a LinkedIn or Twitter handle. Now, what I will tell you guys, I have no Twitter. I have no Twitter handle, and I still got into Forbes Coaches Council. Okay. Now, how did I do that? Because I'm highly active on LinkedIn. And I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn because I'm building my audience. So the reminder is pick one platform. If you're going for Forbes Coaches Council, you probably LinkedIn or Twitter, one or the other. You guys know I'm a LinkedIn fan. So of course I want to say LinkedIn, but you want to at least have one of these really dialed in, because they're going to ask for your handle. So when I say dialed in, I mean your social media profile is optimized. That's something I teach my clients how to do, optimize their profile. You're posting and you're building an audience. Okay. So mental note, LinkedIn or Twitter, drop in the comments, which of those platforms you're going to go for. You don't have to go for both. Like I said, I don't have a Twitter handle, just LinkedIn. So drop in the comments which platform you're going to go for. They're also going to ask for your company website. Okay. So obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but you need a well-branded website, right? I'm big on branding. I love good branding. You need a well-branded website. The website needs to be catering to your niche, right? Not just being a general coach for everybody, for everything. This is also, of course, something I teach my clients. There are going to be, I don't want this to scare you, so I'm going to bring it up ahead of time. Just checking my comments here. Julie, March 2023. Girl, I'm going to hold you to that date. Put that phone reminder in. I'm going to put a phone reminder in and hold you to that date. I love that. So there are questions on the application about company revenue. Okay. They do ask about that, but don't let that scare you. It is not a disqualifier. I'm not making 7 figures in my business. I better not even bother applying. Don't let that scare you. Okay. Answer honestly. Hopefully you are near the 6-figure mark. If you're not near the 6-figure mark, come work with me so I can get you there. That's what I do. The link in the copy section of this Facebook Live has the link to apply, right? So let me help you get to 6 figures, but don't let that dissuade you from applying, okay, when they ask about how much you're making. They're going to ask which Forbes Council you're applying to. You're going to select Forbes Coaches Council. And then the question, right, the ultimate question that you're going to need to spend time answering, tell us why you should be considered for this Forbes Council. That's the question, right? It's like going on a job interview and tell me about yourself. You're like, oh gosh, where do I start, right? So this is the section, you guys, that there are many, it's kind of like it's not an essay, but it's like a mini, it's like a 1-pager that you need to prepare. And now I don't recall that there was a word count minimum or a maximum. I don't remember there being like a word count for that question. So what I would tell you guys is just write this one off the cuff. Don't worry about that. I mean, of course you don't want like a 5-page essay. They'll tune you out, but don't get hung up on, oh, what's the word count? What's this? I don't remember there being like a word count. It was just the question. So how are you going to answer that question? You want to share your coaching title. They need to know what type of coach are you. Remember, if you are not a business, career, or executive coach or a leadership coach, if you're not those things, you just want to share your title along with the fact that you're serving to a professional audience. So include that with your title if your title isn't a given that that's your audience. You're going to want to share your niche, who you help with what. So you'll tell them about your niche. I think this is also a good spot to share your signature methodology. So your signature methodology are the 3 to 5 steps or pillars you use to get your clients from pain to dream, right? This is module 2 of my program as I teach you guys, how do you build a signature methodology? So I think that's a good thing to share when you're telling them why you. I wouldn't go into like detail on your signature method. I might give them an overview that you have a signature methodology. I'd give an overview. Maybe I might even share a link if there's a link to my method. But I would just basically share what it is and why am I sharing that? Because it sets me apart. right? I teach the 5 C's of building a 6-figure coaching business. That sets me apart. So you want to do a little bit about talking about you have a signature methodology. And by the way, if you need help with this is what I do with my clients, right? All the more reason for you to reach out if you need help building that. And then in this section, share a bit about your story, right? They don't know you. They need to know who are you and what makes you unique. That's important. What makes you unique? And how has your story led you up to this moment of applying to Forbes Coaches Council, right? So share a little bit about that. And then this part is important too. Prove you are a writer. Let's see, I think I'll erase this. So hopefully you guys got this, screenshot it, or go back to the recording. Okay, so we're still talking about how to answer the question in the application. Tell me why we should consider you. Prove you're a writer. And we can't just tell them, yeah, I write, I'm a writer, right? You got to show them that you're a writer. So how do you do that? You might want to share the writing elements of your work history. So I'll give you an example. I was in corporate communications for over a decade in the corporate world, and I wrote, right? That's what I did in my job. So you don't need to be a writer in your past life, but I do challenge you guys to look at your job history and just ask yourself, did I write in any capacity in my job history? Did I write in any capacity? And if you did, even if it was like the company blog or you wrote newsletters for employees, like I don't care, but highlight that if you wrote in any capacity in your job history. You also may want to share, what kind of topics you would write about if you were on Forbes. And again, you don't have to share all these things. I just want to kind of give you guys an idea. They want to know, like, oh, we want you to write articles for us. What are you going to write about, right? So I might basically share, maybe I'd share after I told them about my signature method that, hey, I want to write about how to build a 6-figure coaching business. I want to write about how to ditch the corporate 9-to-5 and build your own business. I want to write about how to market yourself as an entrepreneur, right? I might share with them a couple ideas of what would I write about. Definitely share links if you've been published in other places. Right? We'll get to that in a second too, getting published in other places. But if you've been published in other publications, they need to know this. So, do whatever you have to do, share a link to where you've been published, right? And hopefully you have a page that captures all of that. Definitely share a link to your blog. Right? That's an easy one. And I will tell you, I was definitely blogging when I applied. I'm moving now more into doing like Facebook Live videos. I think those are powerful. But if you're trying to get onto a publication that's telling you, we want you to write, that's what they're bringing you on to do, onto the council, is to write, right? So you got to show them you write. So if you've got a blog, give them a link to your blog. Another one, which is actually important, is sharing your follower count. So when I applied for Forbes Coaches Council, I had thousands and thousands of people that I was connected to on LinkedIn. So, for LinkedIn or Twitter, remember, those are the 2 platforms they care the most about. Work on building up your following. Start now. And it has to be with the right people, right? We're not trying to get connections just for the sake of connections. It has to be people in your niche, right? That's a whole nother training topic is, connecting to the right people on your social media. That's another topic. But I do, again, this is what I teach my clients is how do you outreach? How do you build your audience, right? That's important. Forbes will look at that. So start doing that now. But these are all some of the things you can kind of touch on in your Forbes Coaches Council application. Now that I've kind of covered the application, I'm going to check questions here. Okay, so far so good. So some things I want you guys to start working on now. I talked about what to include in the application. There's some stuff you can start working on now. Okay, so what can you do besides sit on your hands? What can you work on now? Okay, so first is your online presence. Right? Your online presence. What does that mean? It means you have an optimized social media profile. So it's optimized. It's like, oh yeah, I have a social media profile. It's got to be optimized, right? So what does that mean? That your social media profile is branded, that your banners are branded, that your copy, LinkedIn has a massive about me section or summary section, but that copy has to be on point. This is the stuff I teach my clients, how to optimize your profiles. You also have to be active on social media. If they check out your LinkedIn and you're not posting, that's going to be a problem, right? They want someone who's actively posting. Again, one of the things I work with my clients on is how to build out an effective content calendar, right? This is one of the reasons. Something else you guys want to work on up until the point where you apply is your niche, right? We want to get you known for something. We want to elevate you as an expert even before you apply. You guys know I'm always talking about the niche. That's why this is module 1 of my program is nailing your niche. You want to choose your I help who with what, and then you want to be messaging to that, posting about your niche, posting for your niche. Your niche, your I help who with what, should be listed on your LinkedIn profile, on your website, right? This should be clarity, okay? You also need to work on what's your differentiator. Okay. What's your unique differentiator? Forbes wants to know this, okay? What makes you different? What's your unique story? If you're a career coach, there are a ton of career coaches out there. If you're a leadership coach, what makes you different? So you want to be posting about this. What makes you different on your website, on your About Me page, on your content marketing? I talked already about building an audience. That's an action you can take starting immediately. Okay, you guys got to get on that. So again, you don't have to be on every platform. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of pick the one platform where your ideal client avatar hangs out and dominate it, right? So on your social media platform of choice, and we know Forbes, they lean into LinkedIn and Twitter, but you want to show them, hey, I can build an audience, because that already proves your value by the fact that you can generate a sizable following. Now, again, I shared the caveat. We're not just connecting to anybody. We're connecting to people who would actually, be interested in our services. But build your following, right? I teach my clients how to do that. And then this is a good one. This is a juicy one. So if you're tuning in here, definitely take note. Hey, Ryan, thanks for watching. Get published in other places. Let me talk to you about this one. Okay. So now we're kind of moving into talking about PR in general, but getting published in places other than Forbes actually positions you to get accepted into Forbes Coaches Council. So think about it. How do I get published in other places? So when I applied for Forbes Coaches Council, my LinkedIn banner showed all of my as featured in badges. It's almost like I used to joke they're like Girl Scout badges, right? All my as featured in and all the logos. So I want you guys to start building your badges. And when Forbes looked at my LinkedIn profile, they only had to take a quick glance and they thought, oh, okay, she's been published in other places. She's the real deal, right? So I'm going to give you guys some really golden tips here. If you haven't heard about these already, these are golden. First is start easy. If you guys have ever heard of Thrive Global, Thrive Global. Anybody hear about that? Drop me a comment. Let me know if you've ever heard about Thrive Global. It's an awesome platform. It is free. It is an easy way to get published. So easy. They even have an article where they walk you through how to, you actually put your copy directly into WordPress and then their editors go and approve it or edit. So Thrive Global, check it out. Great place to get published right away for free. Very easy. And then this one is golden. Help a reporter out. Okay. Otherwise known as Harrow. Maybe it's Harrow. I don't know if it's Harrow or Harrow. But either way, it stands for Help a Reporter Out. So you guys just take note of this. If you're watching with me or if you're watching the replay, helpareporterout.com. This is a gold mine of ways to get published, to get your name out there. This is a website that connects journalists who are writing news articles to experts like yourself who can provide inputs and quotes for their articles. It's so helpful for the journalist. If you think about it, this website, it allows journalists, they're writing a piece, they don't have to hunt down a source. They just get a quote from you. It's helpful to you because you get media coverage and you're positioning yourself to get into places like Forbes, right? So go to this website, helpareporterout.com. There's, last time I checked, there was a blue button and it said, I am a source. I think they gave like two options, like I'm a journalist, I'm a source. So you want to click the I'm a source button and you want to sign up for Help a Reporter Out. Last time I checked, it was free. This was a while back when I signed up, but last time I checked, it was free. Once you sign up for Help a Reporter Out, you're going to get emails from them. So about 3 times a day, Monday through Friday, you'll get email alerts. Now, they're exciting. It's cool when those emails come in because they contain a list of topics, right? And they're organized, all the different topics journalists are writing stories about, and they're organized by topic, like healthcare, lifestyle, business, right? So you can kind of think of it like sections of a newspaper. But you'll get that email, you'll scan all the topics, and you'll see underneath each topic is a headline or a topic that a journalist is writing about. So right now, as I give you guys this Facebook Live, there are journalists all over the country that are writing articles and they're looking for experts like you to give them a quote because they got to publish and they need an expert quote. So this is how you get alerted on articles to potentially be quoted in. One of the things I teach my clients is how to get into articles listed in Help a Reporter Out. So I provide my clients a template to be able to pitch to journalists. But really, you guys, the big piece of advice I do want to share with you, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but when you're pitching to Help a Reporter Out, do be one of the first people to respond when you get the email. So when you get that email, you actually want to be one of the first to respond. Why? Because journalists have deadlines. And they don't have time to wait around and weed through like all the different people that submitted a quote. So if you can be one of the first to submit your quote and it's pretty good, you're much more likely to get responded to. The longer you take to respond to a Help a Reporter Out email, the lower the probability of getting quoted. So you do want to move quickly there. Another way to set yourself up for a Forbes Coaches Council acceptance is to get featured in other people's podcasts. By the way, if any of you use Help a Reporter Out and you get published, come back and drop a link on the Saturday promo thread that I do, so we can all read your post and give it some love. But get featured in other people's podcasts. Again, why would that help you with Forbes Coaches Council? Because it's positioning you as an expert. But the cool thing is, all the stuff I'm sharing with you guys about PR, it's not just about let me look good for Forbes so I can get into Forbes. This is going to get you clients, right? That's part of what I teach is how to get good PR, because it's not just about Forbes. I mean, yeah, we want to get you into Forbes, but this is going to help you get clients, right? So get featured in other people's podcasts. You can search on Facebook. There are a ton of different Facebook groups that are looking for podcast guests. So you can literally search on Facebook groups, podcast or podcast guest, and join those groups. Introduce yourself, share your niche, share the 3 to 5 topics that you can speak on. Again, I won't go down that rabbit hole of getting on podcasts, but there are different ways you can do that, right? That's part of what I teach my clients is how do you pitch yourself to get onto a podcast? But do that. That'll help you get clients. That'll help you get on Forbes. And then lastly, as I mentioned before, writing. Right? So again, we're just talking about how to position you to get onto Forbes. It's a no-brainer, right? It's a very important way to prep to be accepted into Forbes Coaches Council is write, right? Write on a blog, right? Post your blog on your website. You can post it on LinkedIn Publisher. You can write a batch of blog articles. You could write once a week for a while. You could write once a month, whatever, right? But just you want to get some writing samples out there. There's not like a magical number of how many blog articles to write, but do create a library of articles to show them when you apply, hey, I can write, right? So that's my advice for you guys on how to position yourself to be accepted into Forbes Coaches Council so that you can easily get featured in Forbes. Now, the cool thing is, why are you doing this? You're building your authority in your space, in your niche, right? So again, I just want to kind of remind you guys, yeah, this is positioning you to get into Forbes, but this is also attracting clients to you, right? So I just want you guys to think of it that way. It's a win-win in that way. I'm going to check here. Any questions at this point, guys? Looks like I've answered all the questions so far. If anyone's watching the replay and has questions, be sure to drop them. I'll circle back and answer. Now, the other way to get into Forbes, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole on this training, but if you guys want this training, let me know and I'll do this as an upcoming Facebook Live training. The other way to get into Forbes is to, directly pitch your story topic to an editor in the section that you want to publish in, right? That's the other way. I'm telling you guys about the roundabout way, which I thought was the easiest way. Get into Forbes Coaches Council. And then it's just like you're allowed to be featured. The other way is to directly, you go around, you pitch to editors, right? You connect to Forbes editors and you build a relationship with the editors and you pitch an idea and you follow up on that idea, right? That's the other direction. So if you guys want that training, let me know and I can do that as a future Facebook Live. But again, you guys know I opted to just get onto Forbes Coaches Council. I thought that was the best option. But let me know and I'll do that as a separate training if you want. I hope you guys enjoyed this training today. If you are one of my peeps who is in a corporate job, but you're ready to become a coach, you want to repackage your genius into a 6-figure coaching business, do be sure to apply for a discovery call. Link is in the post. I do need you guys to know that I'm running some bonuses that will expire March 23rd. Okay, so that's like a week. So you have about 7 days before these bonuses expire. And that includes $1,000 off the package price if you pay monthly, $2,000 off the package price if you pay in full. The first 5 people to apply and get accepted to the Build a Six-Figure Coaching Business Program will receive an additional private 60-minute deep dive strategy session with me, where I'm going to get all up in your business and point you in the right direction. And then the third bonus is a social media profile audit. So you guys know I talked a lot this training about optimize your social media profile, for Forbes, but also to get clients. And I will actually provide this for you as part of the bonus of joining my program. I will personally audit your social media profile and help you optimize it so that you can attract clients. Again, less than a week till these bonuses expire, so do book your discovery call now if you're watching this before my calendar fills up so you can get those bonuses. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, drop any questions below and I'll be sure to circle back. And if you have any ideas for upcoming training topics you'd like me to do a Facebook Live on, let me know. Until then, have a wonderful week, you guys, and keep me updated on the steps that you're taking to move towards getting on Forbes. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.